Good morning. Hope you're having a great weekend. It is Saturday, August 23rd, 10:08 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, local time here in Nevada. I'm on Highway 95 northbound, and I'm not sure where I'm at. I saw a sign a few miles back that said 29 miles to Beatty, Nevada. Beatty, Beatty. So I'm probably about 20 miles south of Beatty, Nevada. Headed north on Highway 95, making my way to Reno, Nevada. Highway 95 basically goes between Las Vegas and Reno, which is a long way. It's like 300 and something miles, 300 or 400 miles from Vegas to Reno. So what's going on with me? The big news is I failed my carb test. So I thought that all the carb test did was check to see if the DEF system was enabled. That's not what it does. That's not all it does, at least. It checks to see if it's enabled, but it also pulls all of your fault codes. It pulls every one of your errors from your computer. And if you have errors on certain systems, your fuel system, your DEF system, and I'm not sure what all other systems, if you have any errors on any of those systems, then it'll fail you. Just a second here. There's cars behind me passing. The speed limit is 70, and I have my cruise set at 70. If you follow the channel, you know I rarely set my cruise above 65, but I'm trying not to impede traffic, so I have it set at 70 so I don't slow people down. But apparently the speed limit is not fast enough for some of these snowflakes, these precious little unique individuals who the rules do not apply to. So anyway, which is funny because I'm about to talk about breaking the rules in a minute. So they pulled, they did the carb test, they came back and they failed me. And they said that I had an injector error and I had like 3 NOx sensor errors, NOx sensor errors. I think that stands for nitrogen oxygen sensor. It might be nitrous oxide sensor, but I'm pretty sure it's nitrogen oxygen sensor. Some people refer to it as an O2 sensor, but I think that is a different sensor, even though they refer to the NOx sensors as O2 sensors. I think the O2 sensor is in your fuel system, and it determines like your fuel-air mix ratio. But I've heard mechanics refer to the NOx sensors on the DEF system as O2 sensors, and I'm pretty sure that that's inaccurate. This mechanic actually referred to them as O2 sensors at one point. Oxygen sensors. But anyway, I was like, that can't be right. I'm not getting any errors on the dash. Like, I went through my diagnostics, all of my fault codes. I have no active faults except an oil temperature sensor. That's the only fault that I have going right now. I said, are you sure this equipment's working properly? And he said, well, I can hook my J-Pro up to it and see what that says. I said, I'd appreciate it. So he hooked that up, and sure enough, on his J-Pro, it showed an injector error, an injector fault, and like 3 NOx sensor faults. One was basically a voltage issue, like it wasn't getting a reading from the sensor, and then a temperature, issue because it wasn't getting a temperature reading from the sensor, and then another error on the other sensor of like temperature. But he said that error with the other sensor might be because this one sensor is faulty and the two of them have to work together to, whatever. One of them's dependent on the other, so both of them are going to fault if one of them faults. One of those situations, electrical stuff. You know how it is. Anyway, I said, man, that just doesn't make any sense. I just paid the dealer a couple of years ago to replace the NOx sensor because I was getting a NOx error, and now I'm not getting any of these errors that you're saying I'm getting. This is weird. Like, this is completely unexpected. This has blindsided me. I was not expecting to, fail this test. And because my DEF system is working perfectly fine. And he was like, well, I mean, we could check and see if there's something obvious with the NOx sensors, like, a cable's not connected or something like that. But really, you have to go to the dealer for the DEF system. And he agreed to check for free, just really quick. And he crawled underneath the truck and checked one of the NOx sensors, and it was loose. Like, it wasn't screwed in all the way. And I was like, there's no way. And he's like, crawl underneath here. And I crawled underneath the truck with him, and sure enough, the sensor was just like dangling in the hole. And I wiggled it back and forth, and it just completely fell out. It wasn't like in the hole at all. It was just sitting there. It wasn't screwed in at all. It was just sitting in the hole, not screwed in. So he was like, well, you could, we could screw it in for you and see if that clears the errors. But with it being exposed like that, it's probably damaged, and the sensor is probably going to need to be replaced. And he wanted to charge me $140 to screw it in. I was like, I can screw it in. And I crawled underneath there and spent 5 seconds and screwed it in. And then he checked it again. It was still giving the injector error cleared for some weird reason, but I was still getting the 3 NOx sensor errors. And he said, well, whenever you change anything with the DEF system, it has to recalibrate. Like, basically, you have to run the DEF system for a long time, and it'll update all of its information. So he offered to run a regen, a forced regen. I was like, all right, let's give that a try. So I did a regen for a half hour, and still same 3 NOx sensor errors. Now the injector error cleared whenever I screwed the NOx sensor in, and that never came back. But I still have the 3 NOx sensor errors. There's a NOx sensor on the in and a NOx sensor on the out of the exhaust going in and out of the DEF system. And I'm getting errors on both of them. And those sensors are really expensive. The dealer charges somewhere around like $1,500 a piece for the sensors. I found them online for like $700 a piece. I think it's the exact same sensor on both sides, but I would have to research to be sure on that. Beatty facility. So we're getting close to Beatty, Nevada, or Beatty, Nevada. I want to say Beatty because of Warren Beatty. So we'll just go with Beatty, Nevada. I mispronounce things all the time. I had a whole bunch of people respond to one of my videos recently correcting me on how to pronounce Terrell, Texas. They were saying it's not Terrell, it's Terrell. Terrell, Texas. Instead of Terrell. Terrell doesn't sound right to me. It's kind of like Nevada and Nevada. There's a lot of people who pronounce it Nevada, and I've lived in Nevada, and the locals laugh at people who pronounce it as Nevada. I mean, there are some locals who pronounce it as Nevada, but people who basically grew up here their whole lives, it's Nevada. So I don't know, before I start pronouncing it Terrell, I think I'm going to have to do some Google foo, because Terrell just sounds weird to me based on how it's spelled. So anyway, back to the carb test. So I failed the carb test. What does that mean? It means I'm in some legal gray area. Now, I'm sure it's not a gray area to California. California knows with 100% certainty whether I'm legal in California right now, but I am uncertain as to whether or not I'm legal in California right now. Because basically, the way the carb thing works, it's a two-step system. You have a carb permit that you pay California for, and then you have to get carb tests done to maintain that permit. So I've paid California for the permit. My vehicle is active in the carb system, and California sent me an email and said, hey, you're overdue for your test, your carb test for this vehicle. It was supposed to be done by July 31st. If you don't get it done soon, we're going to deactivate your vehicle. And you could potentially get fines. So that made it sound to me like, okay, I'm still active. I'm still legal to drive in California, but I need to get it done soon. So I'm not sure if, like, I'm legal in California at the moment, but I'm going to risk it. I'm going to give it a try. I'm just going to drive through California and hope I don't get a ticket. I checked the area that I'm driving through, and there's an agricultural inspection station, because I'm taking Highway 395 into California. I'm not taking 80 or some major interstate. I'm basically backroading it into, all right, the car that's been behind me for a long time is finally going to pass, just as we're getting up to an area where you shouldn't be passing. But they made it. I hope it's like really light traffic like this the entire drive. I've driven Highway 95 before where it's just like really heavy traffic, and it sucks. This is actually not that bad. For a bi-directional, this is awesome. But I've still got like 300 more miles of this. Got like 5 hours of bi-directional left. So since I'm backroading it into California, I checked the weigh stations, and there's an agricultural inspection station that is always open. but that's just an agricultural inspection station. Usually, whenever they see Landstar, they just wave me through. They don't even have me stop. But if they have you stop, they just ask what you're carrying. And if you're not carrying agricultural, they'll just tell you to go. Sometimes they'll ask you to hand them their paperwork, and they'll look at your bills of lading to see what you're carrying. But usually they just ask you, like, what are you carrying? And, air conditioners. I'm carrying air conditioners. It's not agricultural. So I'm not worried about the agricultural inspection station. And then there's a weigh station a little further down the road that is almost never open. They basically will just randomly open the place up for like a day, or whenever they're doing a blitz week, they'll open it up. So I know that we had a blitz week recently, or we're about to have one. I can't remember when it's happening, or if it just happened. I think the blitz week just happened like a week or two ago, where they were focusing on brakes. Speaking of which, I was chatting it up with a guy at the shop at the Loves there just east of Kingman. Poor guy, he just bought a Kenworth at the Kenworth dealer in Las Vegas, and I think he said he lives in Vegas. He just bought it a little over a month ago, and I don't know why, but he had the truck in the shop there at Loves, and they told him that all of his rotors were bad on his brakes, all 6. He has disc brakes. Like, when he was talking about rotors on his brakes, I was like, you're talking about the little mechanism at the end of the camshaft that it turns. Like how did that thing go bad? Why are they all bad? He was like, no, it's the plate that the brakes rub against. I was like, I think that's called the drum. He was like, no, it's called the rotor. It's what the brakes push against to stop the truck. And I was like, do you have disc brakes? And he said, yeah. And I said, oh, okay. I was like, all right, now this is making more sense. But he said that they showed him the rotor, and it's basically just rust. It's dust. He basically doesn't have brakes on the truck. The rotors are just dust. The truck had been setting so long that, like, it just rusted. The rotors just, he described them as, like, whenever you touch them, they just turn to dust. And he said he's done, loads driving over the mountains in Colorado, and he said that he's lucky to be alive. I don't know what prompted him to put the truck into the shop. All right, speed limit just dropped from 70 to 50 abruptly. And now it's going to continue going down to 45. We're doing 53. We're still slowing down. 50, 48, 47. And now we're into the 45 zone, and we're doing 45. Yay, 44. But he said that he was going to take the truck back to the Kenworth dealer and make them pay for all the repairs and reimburse him his down payment and ask for all kinds of compensation. And he said he might have to take him to court. Speed limit 25. My goodness. We're doing 28 right now. Oh. We're going 26 and a 25. We're speeding. Really good fresh jerky. Well, I can't read the bottom part of the sign, so I don't know where it's at. Oh, fresh jerky ahead. Buffalo elk venison. Clean restrooms. Raw honey. Smoke 'em, got 'em. Smoke shop now open. car wash, car detail, Sure Shine. We got some donkeys. We got a couple of jackasses out here next to the road. Taking pictures. Okay. This truck in front of me is... What is this truck in front of me doing? They just pulled over in the right lane. They're going like 15 miles an hour. I need to make the right turn at the light. Why are you going so ridiculously slow, man? Like, I'm stuck behind you. I need to make the right turn. I can't pass them right here. And this person is doing 15.
In 600 feet, turn right onto US-95 North Main Street.
What is going on? This person is not turning. This person is delivering here locally.
At the stop sign, turn right onto US-95 North Main Street. Signs for Tonopah.
All right, all way, a four-way stop. Let's swing it out here.
Continue on US-95 North for 66 miles.
Smokin' Jay's Barbecue. All right, the right lane's going to end in a minute. There's a car behind me. Hopefully they can pass me before the lane ends. Are they going to make an effort to pass me? Nope. They're just chilling behind me. They're making no effort to pass. They're like 500 feet behind me. I think I've picked up a load here. There's like a water place that makes bottled water, which is absolutely crazy that there's a place out in the middle of the desert that makes bottled water. They're basically using the underground water supply but it was on, I remember it was on the east side of the highway. I want to say it was around here somewhere. I could be wrong, but it was in Nevada off Highway 95, I think. I picked up a load of bottled water. And I want to say it was in this area somewhere. Bottled water is such a waste. Think of all of the plastics involved with bottled water, all of the supply chain to move it around, and you can get water right out of the tap. It's just, and most people that drink bottled water, they think that they're being so healthy and so environmentally friendly because they're drinking water. Just like, man, that is not good for the environment. I hardly ever drink bottled water. I don't buy bottled water. The water I have on the truck is I have 1 gallon jugs. They're old Hawaiian Punch jugs. I bought Hawaiian Punch at the grocery store, and I reused those jugs. I've had the same Hawaiian Punch jugs for like 5 years that I've been using to store water in the truck. I keep 3 jugs of water in the truck, and I just refill them as needed at truck stops. And like I'll fill them up the fuel island. The water pumps at the fuel island is where I usually fuel them up, unless it says not potable. If there's a sign up there that says not potable, then I won't use them. But then I still don't trust There's two reasons I do it. One is because I don't trust the water I'm getting, and two is I tend to store the water for long periods of time. So I keep a little glass jar, a little tiny glass bottle that has a glass eyedropper, and I keep that with chlorine bleach. And it's about 7 drops of chlorine bleach per gallon of water to purify it. So after I fill up the gallon jug, I will put 7 drops of chlorine bleach in it, and then let it set for at least a half an hour for the chlorine bleach to kill all the viruses and bacteria before I drink it. But anyway, what were we talking about before we got talking about water? I think we were talking about the carb test. Yeah, I'm just going to risk it. The weigh station. Oh, we were talking about that guy's brakes. Yeah, he said he was going to take them back to... He was going to take the truck back to Vegas and have it out with the Kenworth dealer because if you're going to sell a vehicle to someone with issues, then you have to let them know up front that it has the issues. And they didn't let him know up front that it had, basically the brakes didn't work. All the brakes needed to be replaced. Just a second here. This four-wheeler in front of me can't figure out how fast they want to go. Now I was catching up to them. Now they're pulling away from me. Whenever people slow down a lot, they get down to like 25 miles an hour like we did through that town. A lot of people, it takes them time to adjust to going fast again. So yeah, he was talking with that guy at the shop. So back to talking about the carb test. Yeah, I'm just going to risk it because the weigh station that I'm going to be driving past, based off of, the review that I did on it, it looks like it's hardly ever open. So my plan is to just hopefully make it through California without getting a ticket. Then once I make it through California, I'm going to deactivate my truck on my carb page. And send that into Landstar, because Landstar Compliance told me that to stay up to date with Landstar, I either had to get my carb compliance updated, or I had to deactivate the truck and send them a picture of the page where it's deactivated. So for now, I'm not in the position financially or the mood to dump an unknown amount of money into the DEF system just so that I can be legal in California, a state that I don't like going to. The rates aren't good there. There's just not a lot of incentive to dump a ton of money into being able to go into California. You know, we're looking at somewhere close to like $1,500 absolute minimum just so that I could drive in California. And the sky is the limit on how much it could cost, because I could replace all that and then get another error. All right, it looks like there's a bunch of RVs on the shoulder in this turn. Maybe there's a pullout. Yeah, there's a little bit of a pullout. It's trying to rain. We're getting a couple of sprinkles. Oh, the car in front of me is slowing down again. Yeah, so once I get through California, I get to Medford. It's just one day that I'm going to be in California. I'm going to deliver on Monday morning, early in the morning. I'm going to deliver most of the trailer, like 3/4 of the trailer. The trailer weighs 15,000 pounds, and 10,000 of it is getting delivered in Reno on my first stop. So that's 10 of the 15,000 pounds, so 2/3. 2/3 of the trailer is getting delivered in Reno. Then I have a delivery in Redding, California at noon on Monday. And then I have a delivery in Medford, Oregon the following day. So the plan is to deliver early in the morning to Reno, then drive to Redding, make that delivery, then drive to Medford and stay overnight in Medford, and then make the delivery in Medford the next day. And then I'm most likely going to drive up to the Portland area. The load that I'm most likely going to leave Oregon on is one of those like 30 stop loads. There's several of them on the load board. Well, they were a couple hours ago. I don't know if they're still on there right now. But there were several loads posted a day or two ago, a couple of days ago. I think they were posted on Thursday, going out of Staten, Oregon, which I think is just south of Portland. And one of the loads was delivering across Kansas and Missouri, and it had a final delivery somewhere in Missouri. And another one had a final delivery in Texas. So generally the way these big multi-stop loads work is you'll just drive over to an area like Missouri or Oklahoma, and you'll do like 30 deliveries in that state or close to that. All the deliveries, you're not typically delivering along the entire drive. You're typically driving like 2,000 miles and then you're driving around in the state doing a whole bunch of deliveries in whatever state you go to. That's typically how they're set up. But there was one that was going to Missouri and another one that was going to Texas. And there were more than that. I think there's one also going to California. They posted, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them on Thursday. And when I checked earlier, the ones going to Missouri and Texas were still on the board. And I think the Texas one was paying like $8,000, and the Missouri one was paying like $9,300. Now that's the full rate. That's the total amount that the customer is paying for the load. I get approximately 70% of that. So why haven't I booked those loads? Because they pick up on Monday and Tuesday. And Staten, Oregon is quite a ways away from Medford. I just don't feel comfortable booking a load without knowing whether or not I can pick it up on time. I know a lot of truck drivers, they don't really care about that stuff. They just kind of figure it out as they go. But I don't like to be late. So I do quite a bit of trip planning before I book loads. I also want to look at all of the delivery locations to see if like any of them are like way off out in the middle of nowhere. Just a second here. The car behind me is about to pass me. This is a four-wheeler that was parked on the shoulder a little ways back. So maybe I'll end up booking that Missouri load or that Texas load. And as soon as I deliver the load in Medford, I'll just go straight to Staten and pick up the next load. That's what I plan on doing whenever I get parked here in Reno, is I'm going to go and look and see if those loads are still on the board and look and see if I can pick them up. See if I can make the pickup and delivery appointments. I think one of them is a huge mileage load. I think the one that's paying over $9,000 that's going through Kansas and Missouri, it has deliveries in Kansas and Missouri. I think that one, yeah, it's like over 3,200 miles. So, like, I would have to worry about my 70-hour clock on taking that load. I would have to see how all the deliveries are stacked. Because if all of that, if you have to do 3,200 miles over the course of like 5 days, 5 or 6 days, I won't be able to do it because I would have just done like 600-700 miles the day before. And that would be like a 4,000 mile week. I don't know. I'll have to trip plan it all out, see what I can do. But yeah, when I get to Reno, that's what I plan on doing, is checking to see if I can do those loads. If I can, I'm going to grab that Missouri load. That sounds pretty sweet. That'd be pretty awesome to get back-to-back high-paying loads. This load paid, what was it, like $5,400 gross to the truck? And that $9,300 load, that load paid like $7,300 on the full rate, and I made like $5,300 gross to the truck. So a $9,300 load, that might pay me, $6,500, $7,000 gross to the truck. That would be pretty sweet. Be nice to have back-to-back weeks like that. Reminds me of the olden days when, the rates were really good. I might be able to do a 34 before I pick the load up or deliver the load on Monday, but that would still give me, Monday is probably going to be like a 400 mile day. I think it's about 400 miles that I'm going to be doing on Monday. It's like 200 miles from Reno to Redding, and then it's another 1 to 200 miles from Redding to Medford. So it's somewhere in the ballpark of like 400 miles that I'd be doing on Monday. And then Tuesday, if I'm picking up a load in state in Oregon, that's like a 250, 300 mile drive from Medford up to Portland. And then after I pick the load up, I'm going to be putting in more miles that day. So that would be like a 400 mile day. And then like another 500 or 600 mile day. And then I would have all the miles on the load. Yeah, I have to be careful on really big mileage loads that have, because I'm going to be running up against my 70 if I take something that's like a full week, big mileage. I don't know. I'll figure all that out. I'm just running things through I don't know why I do this. I'm running things through my head, and I don't even have enough information to do the calculus on it. But I'm still doing it. I'm just sitting here thinking about all the what ifs. I need to just wait until I can get the actual details and figure it out. I'll figure it out whenever I get parked in Reno. What is that? Looked like a hood for a lawnmower. Looked like a hood for a brand new lawnmower just laying over there on the shoulder. Probably pick that up and sell it on eBay or Amazon or something for a couple $100, maybe $100, if it's not damaged. This has been a really casual drive on 95. I've got the cruise set at 70, which is the speed limit. Well, Google's saying the speed limit's 55 right now, so we might be coming up into a 55 zone. Maybe we're about to drive through a small town. I haven't seen a sign that said the speed limit was 55. I don't know why Google's saying it. But normally I don't set my cruise higher than 65, but because we're driving on this bi-directional for 400 miles, I'm trying to limit the amount of cars that get stuck behind me. I'm trying to go with the flow of traffic as much as possible. And fuel prices went up. I'm fairly certain that it is directly related to Ukraine bombing some Russian petroleum pipeline. Fuel prices went up by like 10 plus cents per gallon overnight. Yesterday, the place where I fueled up just north of Kingman was $2.68 a gallon. Today it was $2.88 a gallon, 20 cents a gallon increase. I checked the TA off of Bonneview in Dallas, and it was $2.53, and it was $2.42 a couple of days ago. So it went up by 11 cents a gallon. So like just about everywhere went up by at least 10 cents a gallon. I've seen places that went up by 30 cents a gallon. I had somebody, what in the hell is that? Oh, it's one of those Tesla trucks. So when Israel started bombing Iran, I put out a video and I said, hey, go out, top off fuel right now because fuel prices are going to go up. And then whenever they announced a ceasefire, I said, hey, I put out another video, and in that video I said, hey, don't top off fuel right now. Wait until tomorrow. Fuel's probably going to be cheaper tomorrow, and it's just going to get cheaper and cheaper over time because of the ceasefire. Well, on that second video, I had somebody basically tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about, and they followed my advice, and they lost a lot of money buying expensive fuel because after my first video, they did the exact opposite of what I said. They didn't go top off fuel. They waited for fuel prices to go down. So when I put out my second video, they said that they had been following the advice of my second video since the war broke out, and the fuel prices had just been getting more expensive and more expensive, and they'd just been spending more and more money on fuel, so they'd been losing money following my advice in my video. Now, I don't respond. I used to respond to negative comments, but it's just pointless to talk to people like that. I typically just don't respond to negative comments. I'm not going to have a debate with somebody, but basically the person did the exact opposite of what I suggested and then blamed me for losing money on fuel. So here we go again. We just had a disruption in the fuel supply. Now, Russia doesn't provide petroleum products directly to the United States. They provide them to Europe. So they're disrupting the flow of petroleum to Europe. Ukraine did. But that's going to affect us because Europe is going to have to go into our markets to make up that difference. So they're going to drive up the prices in our markets. So my recommendation is that you top off fuel. Even though fuel prices jumped up today, they're most likely going to continue climbing for the next 3 or 4 days, maybe the next week. If nothing else happens, just off of what has happened so far, the fuel prices will likely stabilize in somewhere around a week. So even though they shot up, you should still probably go ahead and fuel up today. Just a second here. I've been slowly catching up to the truck in front of me, and now it looks like I'm catching up really quick. Did they slow down? Are they stopping here somewhere? I'm looking around to see if there's like a rest area or a warehouse or something in this area. I'm not seeing anything. Now they seem to have maybe sped back up. I don't know. Maybe they saw the construction and slowed down, and then they sped back up. Or it could just be my imagination. It is really, really hard for a truck to pass another truck on bidirectional for several reasons. One, we just have no acceleration. And two, you can't see much of anything around the truck. So if I make a move to pass this truck, then I'll probably wait until I can see several miles of nothing coming from the other direction, and I'll make a run at the truck and get up to like 80 miles an hour and try to fly around them. Like, that's about the only safe way that I can get around them on a normal pass. So what I'll probably end up doing, because that's really dangerous, is just wait for a passing lane or wait to drive through a town and see if I can make it through them in a town or something. They're not going very much slower than me. They're going like maybe 1 mile per hour slower than me. So I'm just going to get close enough that if a passing lane comes up, I'm close enough that I can pass them. And then just sit and wait for an opportunity. "31 miles to the next town. Goldfield in 31 miles. All right, we're going to slow down. I don't want to get much closer than this. And we're about to start going up a hill. You do not want to be trying to pass somebody in a truck on bidirectional going up a hill, because you have no idea how heavy they are. Like, what are they going to do going up the hill? It's hard to even judge what you're going to be doing going up the hill. It's hard to tell exactly how steep the grade is. But it looks like we're going to be climbing a hill for several miles. Oh, this is one of the things that sucks about bidirectional, just getting stuck behind somebody. So yeah, my advice on fuel: it looks looks like it's just going to keep going up for about a week and should stabilize within a week, and we'll just have to wait and see what other news we get. So I wouldn't hold off on buying fuel. Unless you're like sitting at the house. If I was headed to the house right now and I was going to be sitting at the house for like 2 or 3 weeks, I would hold off on buying fuel. But if I'm out driving over the road right now, I would be topping off right now, because the price is probably going to be more expensive tomorrow, and more expensive the day after that, and more expensive the day after that. It's most likely only going to be going up by like 3 cents a gallon, maybe 5 cents a gallon each day for the next few days. That would be my guess. Maybe we'll get a climbing lane on this hill when we get up to the steeper sections of it. And hopefully I'm lighter than this truck and I can make it around them. I'll use power mode. This version of the truck has economy and power mode. I think standard, if you don't get the like premium transmission options, I think standard, the truck is just always in power mode. I think, passing lane in 2 miles. So that's different from a passing zone. Most of the signs I've been most of the signs that I've been seeing in regard to passing lanes and stuff, it's just said passing zone in 2 miles, which is basically what we're in right now. We're in a passing zone where it's safe to pass. It's a striped line. It's not a solid line. We're in a passing zone. But that said passing lane, which most likely means that we are getting a climbing lane whenever we get to the steeper section up here. So I'm going to throw it in power mode and see if I can't get around this person. But if this is the same, no, this is not the same person. That person turned off back there in that last town we drove through. That person was blocking me from passing. So I was like, if this is the same person, they're going to try to block me from passing. But the last person I was behind that ended up turning, whenever we had a passing lane, I tried to pass them, and they sped up and wouldn't let me around them. All right, passing lane in half a mile. I've got to time this. I got to time my acceleration to where I don't have to hit my brakes on them. All right, here we go. Let's see what they do. See if they try to race me. They've got a seal on their trailer, so they're loaded. Hopefully they're heavy. They're not dropping much speed yet. We're at 69 miles per hour right now. All right, we made it around them. And now the four-wheeler behind me is going to pass me, and then the lane's ending. Come on, hurry up, four-wheeler. Oh, they dropped a lot of speed. We're down to 64. It got steeper, and they dropped quite a bit of speed. They're about 500 feet behind me, and I'm pulling away from them. We're at 66. Yeah, this thing's got quite a bit to it in power mode. I hardly ever use power mode, though. All right, cruise control's back on at 70. And I've only got 15,000 pounds of cargo out of a max that I can carry of somewhere around 43,000 pounds. Yeah, they're like a half mile behind me. They're way back there now. So yeah, I do appreciate the positive comments. I don't get a whole lot of comments on my videos, and it seems like it's only the people that are toxic that take the time to comment. I know that there's a lot of good people that watch the videos because I generally, I'll get like, I don't know, 500 views on a video, and it'll be like 100% likes. I'll only get like 12 likes, but it'll be like 100% likes with no dislikes. And then like the next video, I'll get like 200 views, 9 likes, 1 dislike, and I'll have like 1 comment. And it's somebody saying some ridiculous stuff. It's like, what in the world is wrong with you? So, yeah. I think most of the positive people are shy, and they're just sitting in the background. They don't want to comment. They don't bother liking videos and stuff like that. But if I make somebody mad, if I say something that makes them mad, they'll take the time to throw a comment down there. They'll take the time to throw a dislike. All right, looks like we got a horse trailer up ahead that I'm catching up with. Hard to tell from this distance, but it looks like a horse trailer from this distance.
We found a faster route.
Man, there is a whole lot of nothing out here. I would love to live out in the middle of nowhere. So, okay, if you've been following the channel, you know that I've got this dream of buying a yacht. And when somebody says yacht, people typically just immediately go to like $1 million boat. No, when I say yacht, I'm talking like a 34-foot sailboat that I can hopefully buy for like $20,000 or $30,000. No, that's not looking like a horse trailer. It's looking like an Airstream RV with something, and it is going slow. I'm catching up with it really quick. And this four-wheeler is not passing it. There's no way that I can pass multiple vehicles spread apart like that. Oh my goodness, it's going really slow. Now that truck's going to catch back up with me. Come on, four-wheeler, pass it. If that four-wheeler would pass it, then I could pass it because it's going so slow. Oh my goodness. I can see for miles. I think I'm going for the pass because that thing's going really, really slow. Yeah, we're going for the pass because I can see for several miles and there's no oncoming traffic. It really ticks me off that that car is just sitting there because that car is making this pass a lot more dangerous because I'm having to pass multiple vehicles spread out like this. We're doing 75. We're speeding. All right, we've cleared up. Now the car wants to pass. So now after I pass them, now the car is passing them. All right, now we're back doing 70. And the car is on my butt. What do we got up here? Is this a rest area? All right, so anyway, back to the dream. So I have this dream of liquidating everything and then living on, a cheap yacht in the Florida Keys. And when I say the Florida Keys, I mean I want to go out where there's nobody around. Like, what I'm thinking of is I've done quite a bit of research on it. What does this say? Lida Dyer over this direction. So it's not listed as a rest area, but there's just a lot of space that you can park right there. But I was thinking about like setting up my residence at Port St. Lucie because the boat registration, like in Florida, all of the southern counties in Florida have more expensive boat registration prices. So Port St. Lucie is like the southernmost place on the east coast of Florida. It's the southernmost county that has the base registration fees without a markup. All of the other counties south of it have increased boat registration rates or fees. So I was gonna.
There's a 10-minute slowdown in 5 miles.
There's a 10-minute.
Still on the fastest route.
There's a 10-minute slowdown in 5 miles. What in the hell is it? Is it an accident or construction? I don't know. Google is just saying that there's a 10-minute slowdown in 5 miles. What really sucks about that is whenever you hit a slowdown like that, it's going to congest everybody all together. It's going to turn us into one enormous pack of vehicles. I'm going to catch up with all the vehicles in front of me, and all the vehicles behind me are going to catch up with me. So even when we get past the congestion, it's just going to be a cluster of vehicles trying to pass each other. We're not going to be nice and spread out anymore. All right, so this car is flashing its headlights at me, probably trying to warn me that there's something up ahead. Passing lane in 2 miles. So it's right around the passing lane is when the congestion's going to start. Just at the end of the passing lane, probably. Oh man, that sounds like it might be an accident. Maybe people trying to pass each other at the last second in the passing lane, getting a little bit too aggressive. I hope it's not an accident. Because if it's a fatality accident, they'll shut the whole road down to do their investigation. But anyway, I have that dream of, living on a boat in the Florida Keys. And I would like to, the way I would like to do it is just stock up the boat to where I could live for 3 to 6 months and then just go out into, out in the middle of nowhere in the Florida Keys, try to get away from everybody and just live there for 3 to 6 months and then go back to Port St. Lucie, restock, the boat, and then go back out for 3 to 6 months. That's the dream. But I've also thought about moving to Alaska. There are people that just take off to Alaska, they get rid of everything, they sell everything, and they just go into Alaska, and they just go out in the middle of nowhere, living off the land in Alaska. They made a movie about some kid that did that. I think his name was McCandless or something like that. He didn't live long. In the movie, I think it said that he ate some blueberries or something that poisoned him. And he ended up starving to death or dying of dehydration or something. But I don't know if I want to go that route where I just take some camping gear and head out into the Klondike. What in the hell is that up ahead? That big white thing. All right, we are hitting the slowdown right now. This is where Google says that there's a 10-minute slowdown. It starts right here. And what in the hell is that up in front of me? All right, I see a flagger in the road. We're going to slow down. What in the hell is going on here? We're doing 35 miles an hour. All right, somebody's got their door open up ahead, indicating that traffic is completely stopped. And we got somebody that's trying to do a U-turn. Yeah, there's vehicles up ahead doing U-turns as well. Yeah, traffic is just completely stopped. The truck behind me, it looks like they're trying to turn around and go the other direction. That truck behind me that was cockeyed in the road, yeah, it's trying to do a U-turn across the road right now. Yeah, it's backing up and backing forward and backing up and backing forward. It's completely blocking the road right now, trying to get turned around to go the other direction. Holy crap, they're pulling way off the road. They're going to get stuck going that far off the road. That car that just drove past me was waving their arms like, turn around, turn around. Let's turn the CB on. What's going on? Traffic is moving forward a little bit because of all of the vehicles turning around. This is making me think that it's a fatality accident. I couldn't turn around if I wanted to. There's not enough room. People are, I don't know if you can see in the video, but people are walking around in the road trying to figure out what's going on up ahead. It's just completely stopped. All right, that's far enough. We're going to park right there, leave some space. Well, this will be my 30-minute break. Now, this is going to turn into like some legal gray area, but I think technically you can go into an on-duty status right here. You can't go into sleeper berth because you're in the roadway. If you're able to pull over to the shoulder, you could go sleeper. Just a second here. Some people are talking on the CB. Let me turn my squelch down. The guy behind me just got out of his vehicle and is stepping out trying to see what's going on. And I see people up ahead of me doing the same still.
He might. He's said he has a funeral to get to at 1 o'clock, and he's not going to make it. So I'm really not sure what he's going to do, but we told him that other guy did, and he might. That'd be cool to see him go over. Right? We're living vicariously through other people. We're good. But I guess his wife contacted him this morning. This may have happened at like 6 o'clock this morning. Oh dear. Yeah, he said his wife called him and wanted to know if he was all right because there was a fatality at 6:30 this morning. He said, "Hell, I thought I'd be out of the way by now."
All right, the people on the CB, like some dumbass just is driving on the shoulder through here. So what they're saying on the CB.
The thing is, it's not a good sign for the medical staff here in Nevada and the people that live here, because if it takes this long to get to you, shit, of course you're going to die.
They're saying that there was a fatality accident at 6:30 this morning.
Right, exactly. That, you know.
So this thing's been shut down for like 5 hours.
Good luck.
Let me see if I can find anything on Google about it.
Gotcha. You're right. No, you guys got 2 radios, right? Yeah, well, right now we have the handheld, which is hooked up to this other antenna. Okay. I'll put this thing on 25. Call around if you need to on 25. Copy that.
Okay, it's showing me a bunch of crap that's old. Las Vegas news. Let's go to a local news channel. Tonopah news. I should probably specify. There's several Tonopahs. Tonopah, Nevada news. Let's see what the map says here. Google is saying that this backup only lasts like a mile or two. Do I have Twitter on here? There is nothing on the local news channels. People are just taking off driving in opposing traffic. Special little snowflakes. Everybody else has just stopped here for no reason. They're just going to continue on. I'm assuming that guy that drove down the shoulder and then drove in between me and drove into opposing traffic is somebody that like lives here, and they're just trying to get to their house, like this little ways up the road. But that's probably not the case. It is probably a local that needs to get like 20 miles down the road. There's a lot of people standing out in the roadway now. All right, it doesn't look like I have Twitter or X installed on here. So let's just go to the website and see if it'll. Oh my God. I hate these places that force you to log in to be able to use their site. It's like every website you go to wants you to create an account for that specific website. You end up with 5,000 accounts all over the internet. Your data is everywhere, and there's constant data breaches everywhere. So it's just so annoying. All right, we're logged into X. Lucky we're able to get cell reception out here. All right, how in the hell do I search on this thing? I think every single vehicle that we're seeing coming this direction is somebody turning around. All right, there's the search button, finally. Nevada Highway 95. I think that's the jackass that drove up here on the shoulder. I'm not 100%. Special little snowflake passed me on the shoulder, cut across in front of me, went into opposing traffic, drove way up there, got into line way up ahead, and then sat there for a few minutes and then turned around and left. 95 Nevada. I'm not finding anything. Usually when I'm stuck in traffic in a major accident, you can find a news report on it. But there are people like a mile up ahead of me that are out of their cars trying to figure out what's going on. And the traffic behind me is just backing up and backing up. There's another car. There's another one. Two more cars that just turned around. Another one. There's a third. And there's one behind me turning around. So one of the cars that turned around is stopping to talk with somebody. Somebody's probably asking them if they know what's going on. Yeah, if it's a fatality accident, which that's what I heard people saying on the CB, then not only do they have to clear the accident, but they have to investigate. So they have to get like a crime scene investigation unit up here, and they have to investigate the crime scene before they can clean it up. What in the hell? There's some pickup off-roading. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's a dirt road over to the left. Oh, here comes an SUV on the dirt road. There's some pickup taking off on a dirt road over on the left. There's an SUV driving up the dirt road. So people are off-roading. They're going to, apparently there's a dirt road that runs along this road, and they're going to go off onto that dirt road and try to drive past the accident on that dirt road. There's a whole bunch of cars turning around. Oh my goodness, there's a big bus trying to turn around. Somebody must have gotten some information. There's a semi truck trying to turn around. Everybody's trying to turn around. Like everybody in front of me is trying to turn around now. I hope that semi truck doesn't get stuck trying to turn around, and that's going to cause another problem where they're going to have to get a semi wrecker out here to get that truck unstuck. Yeah, there's buses and RVs and all kinds of crap turning around right now. Trucks. And the people that are turning around are waving at other people, telling them to turn around. Oh, it looks like the truck that was turning around wasn't like a full-size truck. So that's not that bad. Just a short little tanker. I thought that was a full-size truck trying to turn around. I was like, oh man, don't get stuck. Let me see where we're at on the map. We're just south of Tonopah. Tonopah, Nevada accident. Nothing. 95 accident. 95 accident. So that's going to give me a lot of Interstate 95 because there's a lot of 95s in the country. Lots and lots of vehicles turning around. There's people behind me turning around. There's people in front of me turning around.
No. Okay. You doing smart? No, I was thinking about what caution on the back of the road. What things on the back of the tree on the back of the road. Right? They don't obviously see in front of them. Yeah, I'm right. I'm semi coming along, plowing by and they always do shit. I feel like 4 tacos on the floor.
All right. The vehicles in front of me are pulling forward because of all of the vehicles that have...
I guess I'll just move forward about another 20 feet, and if you want to turn your steering to the ditch, then that way if somebody does come along and smack into you, you'll go towards the ditch. We'll also have a little clearance.
Over there and down there.
All right. We're going to pull forward a little bit.
I'm going to call 911. You up in the front, tell us what's going on? Fatality car and a pickup, car and a semi got put together and using the bed waiting on the corner. Truck shut down. Yeah, thank you.
So they're saying that car or a pickup and a semi. It's a multiple fatality accident. 2 people dead.
I don't have signal, so I can't really pull anything up.
And the road is shut down indefinitely. They don't know when it's going to be reopened. We got some RVs. I was gonna like pull close to the shoulder, but we've got some RVs that have pulled off onto the shoulder they're just sitting there and they're not moving forward. Yeah, all this movement is just from all of the vehicles that have turned around. And I haven't seen any emergency vehicles, so all of the emergency vehicles must be coming from Tonopah. I mean, I think Tonopah is the closest major town. I don't want to use the word city, but I think Tonopah is only maybe, I don't know, I would be guessing. I would just, within probably 15 miles north of here is Tonopah, if I had to guess. And there ain't nothing behind us until basically Vegas. All right, looks like traffic is stopping. And I am going to leave space right here in case that RV and that truck that are parked on the shoulder want to get off of the shoulder. I keep feeling like I'm rolling backwards. All right, we're going to set the brake right there.
They're turning people around 18. They're turning people around up there. Or you have to wait because they got a fatality wreck.
So a lot of people, when I set my brakes, several people got out of their vehicles behind me. All right, we got people out of their vehicles that are walking up here now. Somebody walking up to my door.
Fatality accident up there, 18.
How long you been here for, drivers?
Not long. I just got here a few minutes before you. The rumor I'm hearing on the CB is that there's a fatality accident, 2 dead people, 1 pickup, 1 semi, that happened at like 6:30 this morning, and they have no idea when the road's going to open.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, everyone that you've seen drive by.
Oh, it's just people turning around.
Yeah. So, yeah, they don't know when it's going to be open. That's what I'm hearing on the CB.
Mine don't come out this far, so my CB's not working.
Yeah.
I got them fucking stupid ones that's inside, so it doesn't put out. So I can't hear nothing.
Yeah, I can't find any news article on it. So I don't know why the news isn't reporting it, but the only thing I'm finding is on the CB. So
Well, if it's fatality, yeah, they're not letting nobody through it.
they're going to have to investigate it before they even clean it up.
Yep.
So who knows how long it's going to be, but yeah, that's the rumor I've heard.
All right, well, thanks, brother.
No problem. So now he's going back and telling everybody behind me what I just told him. Yeah, we've got this guy is just walking up trying to find somebody to tell him what's going on.
Yeah, because this is crazy. People just speed and they see people stop in front of them. I mean, they got able to shoot people. Right now, there is no.
So I'm thinking maybe I should just stop the video because I could be sitting here for several hours, and people are just trying to figure out what's going on. So the guy that just came up and talked to me, he just hopped back out of his truck.
I had this Sirius radio in the rig here for a month. I'm finally getting it set up.
He's going up and talking to. He's going around talking to several people back behind me. So what I just told that guy is getting propagated through the line behind me. Everybody's just walking from car to car telling everybody what I just said. I just wish there was some kind of news update somewhere. I just can't find anything. I guess we're too remote. There's just no news people that are covering this on a Saturday. Fatality accident. I'm searching Twitter. I just lost signal. Everybody walking around me is like holding their phones up in the air trying to get signal. I'm sure we're overwhelming whatever tower is around here with all these people. I think that motorhome to my right just offered quesadillas. He said that motorhome, there's a lot of motorhomes parked around here, but I think that motorhome parked on the shoulder just is. I think that person has had a CB. I think I heard them a minute ago say that they've had a CB that they bought a long time ago. They never hooked up, and now they're in the process of hooking it up. So they just got their CB installed, and now they're joking around on the radio. Yeah, I have lost signal. I'm going to try my Wi-Fi. That thing, I think, has a slightly bigger antenna. Yep. I've still got a connection on that. So we're back. So these people are... Yeah, there's people congregating behind me. There's a lot of people out of their cars standing around talking. Yeah, even searching fatality accident on Twitter, there's only a few posts within the last 7 hours, and none of them are related to this. You know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put some burritos in the little warmer, warm them up, so I can eat some burritos while I'm sitting here waiting. Because I was a little overzealous last night, and I warmed up 4 burritos for dinner. And these are not like really big burritos. These are these frozen burritos that you buy in, 12 packages of 12. So I thought I can easily eat 4 of those. And I guess like all of the bad news last night with the carb and the NOx and all that stuff, it just made me kind of sick to my stomach. You ever get that way whenever you get like you're having a really bad day, things are going really bad and you're getting really stressed out and you just kind of get sick to your stomach? You get to the point where you can't eat. Like that's the way I got last night. I managed to choke down 2 burritos and I was like, I just can't eat anymore. So I threw the other 2 in the fridge. So I think I might throw them in the warming plate and get them warmed up, and I'll snack on those while we're waiting here. All right. Some people just got out of their vehicles in front of me, walked up to another vehicle, and then they ran back to their vehicle, and now they're walking back up to the other vehicle. Oh, here's an idea. Nevada DOT. Nothing. Let's try. Nevada Highway Patrol. All right, I'm not sure if this is the official account. Yeah, it is. This says it is. So they haven't had a post since the 20th. I think everybody's like gone for the weekend. I wonder if these people are planning on walking all the way up to where the accident's at. This is the second group of people that have walked past me that looked like they were going to walk up to the accident, and they just walked basically to where those people are at and turned around. I'm going to pause the video for now, and I might end the video here pretty soon, but I'm going to pause it for now while I'm looking online for information. And here's somebody walking back that walked way up toward the front. I think he walked pretty far up there. So when he walks by me, I'm going to stop him and ask him if he got any news. So I'll leave it rolling for a minute. We'll see if this, if he's the guy that I saw walking up there. Then I'll. It looks like somebody else has already stopped him and is asking him. So there is nothing on Twitter. I don't know what local news there is here. Nevada news. All right, here he comes. I'm going to go out and ask him. I'm going to leave my headset on so you can hear what I'm saying. Oh, it's windy. Did you get up there far enough to see what's going on?
No, I tried, but it's way too far.
Way too far?
Yeah, I went in as far as I could, all the way up to the bed, but it's not the thing.
What they said on the CB was that there was a fatality accident, 2 people dead at like 6:30 this morning.
Oh, so early this morning.
That's what I heard.
And they still haven't opened it?
Yeah, it's.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard it happened. Like that's what they said on the CB is 6:30 this morning. It was a pickup and a semi, 2 people dead.
Wow.
But
we've been waiting for 7 hours already.
I have no idea. That's just what I heard on the CB. I've been trying to find something on like a news site or Twitter or something. I can't find anything on this.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Good luck. I don't know how much of that you heard, but he said that he went as far as the bend, which is about a mile up, and it was just too far. Like, he couldn't see the end of it from there, and he didn't want to walk any further. If I were a passenger in a vehicle, I would walk all the way up to the accident. But I can't just leave my vehicle in the road and walk 2 miles away. All right, so I'm going to pause the video and do some more Googling on my phone, see if I can find some information. And if anything interesting happens, I'll unpause the video. All right, we've got that cop that just drove by is North Las Vegas Police, and we have a couple of more vehicles coming by. Those are both North Las Vegas Police. Those look like crime scene investigation units. Oh my goodness, are you telling me that they are just now getting crime scene investigators here? Those cops that just drove by are out of North Las Vegas. Don't tell me that those are crime scene investigation units that are just now getting here. They haven't investigated it yet? They might have had to, I just said that over the CB in case you're wondering who I said that to. But they might have had to like call in a crime scene investigation unit, you know, Saturday morning And then, the unit got all their supplies together, and then they had to drive all the way up here from Vegas. They probably had to figure out where they were going to get a crime scene investigation unit from, because this isn't Vegas. Yeah, I'm guessing that state police probably had to call around to figure out where to send an investigation unit from. This sucks. This is telling me that they're just now starting the investigation. So they're probably going to spend a couple of hours documenting everything before they even start cleaning it up. We could be here for another 4 or 5 hours. And I finally did find something on nv.dot. They have a road closures or something page, or road hazards page, road conditions. And listed on US-95 at 6:23 a.m. is a fatality accident. And they have a case number on it. And that's all it says. It's just a status, and it just says, it doesn't really say what's going on with it. It's not a status. It just basically says that there was a fatality accident at 6:23 a.m. on US-95, 13 something NE. I'm guessing that's some kind of location marker. I was tempted to open up the door and jump out in front of those cops and ask them what the hell's going on. But, I don't want to impede an officer, doing their duty. All right, all right, everything that I'm finding on US-95 accidents is, old. There's tons and tons of fatality accidents on US-95, tons of accidents on US-95, but nothing today. I haven't found anything today yet. But that pretty much confirms what the people on the CB were saying. The people on the CB, they said they were using a handheld, and I heard them say a couple of negative comments about truckers. So I'm pretty sure that they were locals. And one of them was saying something like they're pretty sure it happened around 6:30 this morning because so-and-so's wife called them to ask them if they were involved in that accident on 95 at 6:30 this morning. So it got reported somewhere, but I'm not seeing where in the world it was reported. I don't know what news is covering this. And here comes a couple of people that walked up from the back. Look like they walked forward to get some news, but they haven't been gone long enough that they could have walked far enough forward to find out anything. They probably walked about as far as that last guy did, up to the turn, and then noticed that the backup was way on further down the road, and they didn't feel like walking any further. Because as long as they've been gone, that's about as far as they could have walked, was up to about the turn. Maybe I should try Facebook. Maybe Las Vegas police will have a Facebook page. Because Las Vegas is responding to it. All right. The vehicle behind me, Stanley Steamer, is turning around. What did she say? I couldn't understand her. I don't know if my radio's not getting out or if they're just ignoring me. But the two girls talking on the radio will not respond to me. They just gave out some information. All right, now we're seeing more cars turning around. Yeah, Google, if you had told me that this was a really long delay, I would have bypassed it, but Google said that this was a 10-minute delay, and I'm not going to change my route over a 10-minute delay, and this is a lot more than a 10-minute delay. This is like an all-day delay. And how do you think this accident happened on a bidirectional road? Head-on collision. Somebody trying to pass somebody. So some of these people that are talking on the CB are, I think they're RVers, and they're like cooking food in their vehicle and asking if the people traveling with them want anything. All right, we're going to pause it again, and I'll try to remember to unpause it if something interesting happens. There's lots of vehicles behind me turning around. And honestly, if I was in a position where I could turn around, I would, because there is an alternate route not too far back behind us to hop on to. I think it's called alternate 95. But I don't have enough room to turn around here. There's not enough room. And I'm not going to try and end up getting stuck. And then, it causes another issue. But if I were in a spot where I could turn around, I would. Because I'm expecting that it's going to be... We're going to be here for a minimum of probably absolute minimum 2 more hours. Because I think that was the crime scene investigation unit that just drove by us. And I think that it's going to take them a minimum of an hour to do their crime scene investigation. And then they're going to have to clean it up. And that's going to take probably a minimum of an hour. So I think 2 hours is, that would be a pretty quick turnaround if we're only here for 2 more hours. So I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to throw those burritos in the warmer, and I'll unpause if something interesting happens. Well, not a big update, but people have started breaking out their bicycles and their Segways and going up and down, I'm guessing trying to get information. That person you just saw drive by on the motorcycle, but the bike, that's the 3rd or 4th person I've seen head up that direction. Looking to see what's going on. We got somebody on a motorcycle that's just driving past everyone on the shoulder. Special little snowflake. The line isn't here for them. So they're just going to drive all the way to the front. That's there's been a couple of pickups that have done that as well. And at first I thought that the pickups that were driving by were maybe relatives of the people involved in the accident or something like that. No. Like, there was somebody that drove by with Texas plates on. There's just special little people that think that they're unique and that, you know, everybody else is just NPCs. We're just background. They're the only person that really matters. But I'm not going to get out here and try to police this crap. Assholes are going to be assholes. Dumb people are going to be dumb. And you're not going to stop them from being assholes. You're not going to stop them from being dumb. What is it I always say? You play stupid games with stupid people. What do you win? Stupid prizes. So the people I see that go up there on like bicycles and segways and stuff, they all come back. Everyone I've seen drive up there, you know, in the left-hand lane in a vehicle of some kind, a motorized vehicle, none of them have ever come back. So they're just driving all the way up to the front around everybody. And I'm sure that there's open spaces like this all up and down through the line from all the people, you know, turning around and leaving. And people just aren't bothering to pull up. So people are just driving past everybody into these open spaces. That's just really annoying. But that's the only update so far. Oh, yeah, there are a couple of other updates. I'm not sure if I've already mentioned this, but so if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. Let me tell you what time it is real quick. It is, because we've been here for 2 hours and 13 minutes now. It is 1:37 p.m. About an hour ago, a little over an hour ago, there were probably 3 or 4 North Las Vegas Police Department vehicles that drove by, and one of the pickups was towing a small camper, one of those tiny little campers. And somebody said over the radio that that was the coroner. So I don't know if that was a crime scene investigation unit or if that was the coroner or what that was. But if they just started the crime scene investigation, you know what? I think I already talked about this because I think I remember giving an ETA of like 2 hours absolute minimum if that was the crime scene investigation. Okay, so aside from that, the other thing is that I was able to verify the accident happened it was reported at 6:23 a.m. according to Nevada DOT. Nevada has a road advisory bulletin board type thing, and they have a traffic advisory reported at 6:23 a.m. of an accident on US-95. And they have some other designation, 13 something of the location. But yeah, so it did happen at 6:23. Other than that, I haven't been able to find any other information about it being a fatality accident. I've heard people say that there are 2 fatalities, but that's just rumor. I believe it. I don't doubt it. I mean, with the road closed this long, and I believe it's a fatality accident. I believe what I've heard that it's 2 fatalities. Sorry, I just saw somebody walking by on my right side mirror, and I was like, what the? Those people actually walked by earlier, I think. Or it might have been another man and woman that looks similar to them. I'm not sure. But a lot of people are getting out of their vehicles and walking around, breaking out, their bicycles and stuff. Lots and lots of walking around. All right, here comes the person on the bicycle. The one that drove by whenever I unpaused. They are on their way back. I'm tempted to jump out and ask them, like, if they were able to get any information, but I just don't feel like it. They're going really fast, and I don't want to. And this is downhill. They're going downhill really fast, and I don't want to jump out there and stop them. And a lot of the people that are walking up here, they're only walking like just a little ways past my truck, and then they're turning around and going back. I don't know why they're choosing this as a stopping point. Because you can't see anything. The road turns to the right about a mile up. Okay, here comes two other people. Man, they walked pretty far. I might stop these two and ask them if they have any news. Because they walked pretty far up there. I remember them walking by here, oh my goodness, probably 20 minutes ago. I forgot about them walking by. Do I feel like jumping out and asking them? They probably don't know anything. All right, the truck in front of me stopped them and asked them if they know anything. So it looks like several people are stopping them and asking them. So yeah, I might hop out and ask them. Now look at the smiles on their faces. They're like celebrities. Everybody's asking them what's going on. Are they going to walk around the right side of my truck? I think they're going to walk around the right side of my truck. If they walk around the right side, I'll just roll down my window and ask them. Did you get far enough up there?
Last bodies have been cleared. The road isn't blocked. Should be moving in a half hour to an hour.
Sweet, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, I don't know if you could hear that, but they said the last body has been cleared. The road is no longer blocked. Should be moving within 30 minutes to an hour. Yay. I'm going to pause this for a minute. So now I need to bust out my burritos, see if they're warmed up, and eat my 2 burritos before we get moving. And so I'm not going to have to stop and take a 30-minute break. We just took a 2.5-hour break. It's probably going to be closer to 3 hours by the time we get moving. And how far away am I from Reno? Second here, it's the Wi-Fi is slow. We get bad reception here, and there's a lot more people here using the cell tower than normal. So it's really slow. All right, it's not even going to tell me. So I would say oh no. No, 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 no. Are you kidding me? It couldn't update the thing, so it just like wiped out my whole thing. Yeah, it wiped out my whole trip plan because it couldn't load it. All right, let me pause this while I try to put my trip plan back on the damn GPS. Sorry, I'm eating my burritos, but I see a vehicle. It looks like a motorcycle. Coming from the other direction. I'm seeing a lot of vehicles coming from the other direction. Looks like the road's open. All right, so I'm going to end the video there. It's going to take me a while to get it uploaded because there's no reception out here. But you don't want to hear me eating my burrito. So, bye.